I caught her mocking me on a Zoom call, viral cheating wife story. If this story tugs at your heart, don't forget to like, drop a comment, and subscribe to Viora for more unforgettable tales that dive deep into love and betrayal. It was 3 a.m. when I heard her voice, soft but sharp, slicing through the silence of our apartment. "He's not my forever," she whispered. "He's just my stepping stone." My heart stopped. I wasn't supposed to hear that, but I did. And that moment turned my cheating wife story into a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I'm Nathan Carter, a 34-year-old software developer with a quiet life and a decent bank account. I've never been one for drama. Give me a good book or a coding project, and I'm content. 3 years ago, I met Lily Harper, a 29-year-old fireball with dreams bigger than the Seattle skyline. She was launching her own skincare brand, Glow Vibe, and her passion was contagious. Lily wasn't just smart. She was magnetic, witty, ambitious, with eyes that sparkled when she talked about her goals. I fell hard. I thought we were building a future together. But as I stood frozen outside her home office that night, I realized I'd been living in a lie. Our life looked perfect from the outside. We had a cozy apartment downtown, weekend hikes in the Cascades, and a shared love for late-night jazz playlists. I supported Lily's dream in every way I could. I built her website from scratch, covered our rent so she could focus on Glow Vibe, funded her marketing campaigns, and even paid for her friends' travel when they helped with product launches. I wasn't just her boyfriend. I was her biggest investor, her cheerleader, her rock, or so I thought. That night, I woke up thirsty, stumbling to the kitchen for water. The glow from Lily's office caught my eye. She was on a Zoom call, her voice low, conspiratorial. I figured she was catching up with her best friend, Ava, or maybe brainstorming with her team. But something felt off. Her tone wasn't playful, it was cold, calculated. I crept closer, my bare feet silent on the hardwood floor. That's when I heard it. "Nathan's sweet, but he's clueless. He thinks I'm in love. He's just my funding. The second Glow Vibe takes off, I'm gone." The words hit like a punch to the gut. My knees buckled, but I didn't make a sound. I stood there, heart pounding, as Lily laughed with whoever was on the call. "Oh, please," she said. "He's so predictable. Pays for everything, no questions asked. I've got him wrapped around my finger." The screen's blue light cast shadows on her face, twisting her features into someone I didn't recognize. This wasn't the woman I'd proposed to in my head 100 times. This was a stranger. I didn't barge in. I didn't yell. Instead, I slipped back to bed, my mind racing. Was this a one-off rant? Or had I been blind all along? I've read plenty of Reddit cheating stories, but I never thought I'd star in one. The next morning, Lily acted normal. Kissed me on the cheek, asked about my day, even suggested we try a new brunch spot. But her words from the night before echoed in my head. I couldn't unhear them. So, I started watching her, looking for cracks in the facade. The first clue came a week later. Lily was in the shower, her phone buzzing on the counter. I'd never snooped before. Trust was our foundation, or so I believed. But doubt gnawed at me. I glanced at the screen. A text from someone named Charlie. Asterisk, "Can't wait to see you tonight. Usual spot." Asterisk, my stomach churned. Who was Charlie? Why was Lily meeting him at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday? When she stepped out, towel wrapped around her, I casually asked about her plans. "Oh, just a late meeting with the Glow Vibe team," she said, brushing her wet hair. Her smile was too perfect, too practiced. I let it slide but kept my eyes open. Over the next few days, I noticed things I'd ignored before. Lily was glued to her phone, always angling it away from me. She'd take calls in the other room, claiming they were investor chats. She used my credit card for business expenses that never showed up in Glow Vibe's books. $500 for consulting, $300 for travel. When I asked, she'd laugh it off. "Babe, it's just startup chaos. You know how it is." But I didn't know. Not anymore. Then came the second twist, the one that broke something inside me. I was updating Glow Vibe's ad account. My name was on it, since I'd set it up. Buried in the email thread was a message from Lily to Charlie, forwarded by mistake. It read, "Nathan's such a pushover. He'll keep funding us until we're set. Then it's you and me, babe. No more playing house." Attached was a photo of them. Lily and a guy I didn't know, arms around each other, smiling at some rooftop bar. The timestamp? Last month, when she told me she was at a networking event. I felt like I'd been stabbed. This wasn't just a cheating wife caught in a moment of weakness. This was a plan, a betrayal, an affair exposed in pixel-perfect clarity. Charlie wasn't just a fling. He was her endgame, and I was her fool. I sat there, staring at the screen, the rain tapping against our apartment window. Each drop felt like a reminder of the life I thought we had, washing away. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. Anger burned in my chest. But I'm not the type to explode. I'm the guy who thinks 3 moves ahead. So I started gathering evidence. I recorded her late-night Zoom calls when she thought I was asleep, capturing her mocking me to Charlie. "Nathan's my backup plan. He's too soft to suspect anything." I screenshot her texts, her emails, her bank transfers to an account I didn't recognize. I found a hidden folder on her laptop labeled C, filled with plans for a new life. Apartment listings, flight searches, even a draft email to an investor claiming she was the sole owner of GlowVibe. She was ready to cut me out, legally and emotionally. Every discovery hurt, but it also fueled me. This wasn't just an emotional cheating story. It was a calculated heist. Lily wasn't just cheating. She was stealing my trust, my money, my future. I thought about all the Reddit cheating stories I'd scrolled past, the ones where the guy forgives or falls apart. That wasn't me. I wasn't going to beg or break. I was going to take back control. My first move was subtle but deliberate. GlowVibe's bank account was in my name. I'd set it up as the primary investor. I quietly transferred control to a new account Lily couldn't access, citing security updates when she asked. She didn't push back. She was too busy planning her escape. Next, I locked her out of the ad platforms I managed, changing passwords and linking them to a new email. She didn't notice. She was too distracted, texting Charlie during dinner, giggling at inside jokes I wasn't part of. The third twist came when I dug into Charlie's identity. He wasn't just some random guy. He was Charles Bennett, a small-time entrepreneur Lily had met at a startup conference I'd paid for her to attend. They'd been plotting for months, using my money to fund their future. One email from Charlie to Lily made my blood run cold. "Once we secure the investor, we ditch the deadweight. Nathan won't know what hit him." Deadweight. That's what I was to them. I could have confronted her then, shown her the screenshots, played the recordings. But I wanted her to feel the weight of her own choices. So I planned my exit. I contacted a lawyer, ensuring GlowVibe's legal ownership was airtight. My name was on every document, every trademark. I'd been naive in love, but not in business. Then, I reached out to a competitor pitching GlowVibe's assets for a quiet sale. They were interested, but I held off, waiting for the right moment. The final straw came 2 weeks later. Lily was buzzing with excitement, telling me she was this close to landing a major investor for GlowVibe. "This is it, Nate," she said, her eyes gleaming. "We're going big." I nodded, playing along, but I knew the truth. She thought she was about to cash out and run off with Charlie. She didn't know I'd already pulled the plug. That night, I sat her down. The apartment was quiet, the city lights flickering through the window. "Lily," I said, sliding a folder across the table, "we need to talk." Inside was a termination agreement, stating I was withdrawing all support for GlowVibe. Her face went pale as I explained. The brand she'd built on my dime was mine, legally and financially. Her access to the accounts, the ads, the website, all gone. The investor meeting? Cancelled, because I'd informed them of ethical violations in her conduct. She exploded, screaming that I was ruining her life, that I was jealous, vindictive. "You can't do this," she yelled, tears streaming down her face. But I could, and I did. I looked at her, the woman I'd once loved, and said, "You didn't just break my heart, Lily. You broke your own future." I walked out, leaving her with the wreckage of her lies. The rain was heavier now, soaking through my jacket as I stepped into the night. I didn't feel triumph, just a hollow relief. I'd loved her with everything I had, but love without respect is just a trap, and I was done being caught. If this story's got you hooked, smash that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to Viora for more heart-wrenching tales of love and betrayal. Let's dive back in. The rain didn't let up as I walked away from our apartment, each step heavier than the last. I'd dismantled Lily's world in a matter of minutes, but the weight of her betrayal clung to me like damp clothes. I thought I'd feel free, but all I felt was the ache of a life I'd poured 3 years into, now scattered like ashes. This wasn't just a cheating wife story, it was my story, and I wasn't sure who I was without it. I checked into a hotel across town, a sterile room with a view of Seattle's neon glow. My phone buzzed with missed calls from Lily, 7, then 12, then silence. I didn't answer. Instead, I opened my laptop and reviewed the evidence I'd collected. Her texts with Charles, her mocking Zoom calls, the bank transfers to her secret account. Each file was a knife twist, but they also grounded me. This wasn't impulsive revenge. This was justice, cold and calculated. By morning, Lily's voicemails flooded my inbox. Her tone shifted from rage to desperation. "Nathan, please, we can fix this. You don't understand what you're doing." I understood perfectly. She wasn't sorry for cheating. She was sorry she got caught. I've scrolled through enough Reddit cheating stories to know the script. Deny, deflect, beg. But Lily had underestimated me. I wasn't the pushover she'd laughed about with Charles. I met with my lawyer, Sarah, at a quiet coffee shop. She was sharp, no nonsense, and had helped me secure GlowVibe's legal framework years ago. "You're in the clear," she said, flipping through the termination agreement. "The company's yours, and her misuse of funds gives you grounds to freeze her out." Sarah paused, eyeing me over her latte. "But Nathan, are you sure? This isn't just business. It's personal." I nodded, staring out the window at the drizzle. It stopped being personal the moment she called me her backup plan. The first twist came later that day. I was at the hotel, sorting through GlowVibe's assets, when an email pinged from Ava, Lily's best friend. I hadn't spoken to Ava in weeks. She was part of Lily's inner circle, always at product launches I'd funded. Her message was short. "Nathan, I need to talk. It's about Lily. Meet me at Pike Place. 3 p.m. My gut told me to ignore it. Ava had been complicit, giggling on those Zoom calls. But curiosity won. Maybe she'd reveal something I'd missed. At Pike Place Market, the air smelled of fish and coffee, tourists bustling around us. Ava looked nervous, her blonde hair tucked under a beanie. "I didn't know it was this bad," she blurted, clutching a to-go cup. "Lily's been lying to everyone, not just you." She told me Lily had been siphoning GlowVibe's profits for months, funneling them into a joint account with Charles. Worse, Charles wasn't just her lover. He was a con artist with a history of fleecing startups. Ava had overheard them planning to sell GlowVibe's customer data to a shady competitor, a move that would have tanked the brand and left me liable. "Why tell me now?" I asked, my voice flat. Ava's eyes dropped. "Because I helped her at first. I thought she was just venting. But when I saw her with Charles last week, I realized she's not the person I knew. She's toxic." Ava handed me a USB drive. Screenshots, recordings, everything I could get. "I'm sorry, Nathan." I took the drive, my mind spinning. This wasn't just a wife affair exposed. It was a full-blown scam. And I'd almost been the collateral damage. Back at the hotel, I plugged in the USB. Ava's evidence was damning. Emails between Lily and Charles plotting to cash out before the investor meeting. Texts about ditching Nathan for good. Even a voice memo of Lily laughing about how I'd never suspect her. One line hit hardest. "He's so loyal. It's pathetic. I almost feel bad." Almost. That word burned. I wasn't just living an infidelity story time. I was the punchline. But Ava's betrayal of Lily wasn't the only twist. The next day, I got a call from the investor Lily had been chasing, a firm called Horizon Ventures. They'd received my email about her ethical violations, but wanted to meet anyway. "We're interested in Glow Vibe," the rep said. "With or without Ms. Harper." I hesitated. Selling the brand was my plan, but now they were offering a partnership, my expertise, their capital, no Lily. It was tempting, but it meant staying tethered to a dream I'd built for her. Could I stomach that? I decided to dig deeper into Charles. Using a contact from my coding days, I accessed public records and online footprints. Charles Bennett wasn't just a small-time entrepreneur. He'd been linked to 2 failed startups, both accused of fraud. His LinkedIn was a polished lie, but his ex-posts told a different story, cryptic brags about big moves and photos with Lily at events I'd paid for. One post, liked by Lily, read, "Loyalty's overrated. Go where the money is." The audacity made my jaw clench. I confronted Ava again, this time at her apartment. "Did you know about Charles's past?" I asked. She nodded, shamefaced. "Not at first, but yeah." Lily didn't care. She said he was her ticket out. Ava's voice cracked. "She changed, Nathan. The Lily I met 5 years ago wouldn't do this." I wanted to believe her, but trust was a luxury I couldn't afford. "Why should I trust you?" I pressed. She met my eyes. "Because I'm risking everything to help you. Lily's already cut me out for talking to you." That night, I sat alone, the USB's files open on my laptop. The rain had stopped, but the city felt heavier, like it was holding its breath. I thought about Lily's smile, the way she'd curl up next to me during movie nights. Was any of it real, or had I been a mark from the start? I'd read cheating stories on Reddit, tales of husbands blindsided by betrayal, but living it was different. It wasn't just pain. It was humiliation, rage, and a nagging question. Had I missed the signs because I loved her too much? The next twist hit like a freight train. Lily showed up at my hotel, unannounced. The front desk called me at 8 p.m. "A Ms. Harper is here." Against my better judgment, I let her up. She looked different. Hair messy, no makeup, eyes red from crying. "Nathan, I messed up," she said, voice trembling. "I was stupid, but I love you. Charles means nothing. Please, let's fix this." She reached for my hand, but I pulled back. Her tears looked real, but I'd seen her play the part before. "Love," I said, my voice low. "You called me your backup plan. You laughed while you planned to leave me." Her face crumpled, but she didn't deny it. Instead, she doubled down. "I was scared, okay? Glow Vibe was failing, and Charles had connections. I got in over my head." She stepped closer, her perfume, jasmine, the one I'd bought her, filling the space between us. "You're my home, Nathan. I'll do anything to prove it." I wanted to believe her. For a split second, I saw the Lily I'd fallen for, the one who danced with me in our kitchen to Ella Fitzgerald. But then I remembered the USB, the emails, her voice calling me pathetic. This wasn't a wife-cheating confession born of remorse. It was damage control. "You're not here for me," I said, stepping back. "You're here because you lost Glow Vibe." Her eyes flashed with something, anger, maybe fear, before she masked it with more tears. "That's not true," she whispered. But it was. I told her to leave. After she was gone, I poured a whiskey and stared at the city lights. Lily's visit had shaken me more than I'd admit. Part of me wanted to forgive her, to rebuild what we'd had. But how do you rebuild on lies? I thought about the cheating wives in stories I'd read, the ones who begged for second chances. Was Lily different? Or was I just another guy too weak to let go? The final twist of the week came from Horizon Ventures. They sent a revised offer. Buy Glow Vibe outright for a 7-figure sum. No partnership required. It was a clean break. More money than I'd ever imagined, and a chance to walk away from Lily's mess. But there was a catch. Charles had contacted them, claiming he was Glow Vibe's silent partner, and threatening legal action if the sale went through. He didn't know I had proof of his fraud, but his move showed he wasn't backing down. I called Sarah, laying out everything. Ava's evidence, Charles's history, Lily's plea. "You've got enough to bury them both," she said. "But you need to decide what you want. Revenge or freedom?" It was the question I'd been avoiding. Revenge felt good in theory, exposing Lily and Charles, dragging them through court. But freedom meant closing this chapter, maybe finding peace. I didn't know which I wanted more. As I sat in my hotel room, the weight of the past month pressed down. I'd caught Lily cheating, exposed her affair, and dismantled her plans. But what came next? Could I walk away, knowing she might spin a new lie, maybe even come for me again? Or did I owe it to myself to fight, to make sure she and Charles paid for every lie? The city outside was quiet now, but my mind wasn't. I'd survived the worst of this toxic relationship story, but the scars were fresh, and the game wasn't over. If this story's kept you on the edge of your seat, hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Viora for more raw, emotional tales of love and betrayal. Let's finish this. The hotel room felt smaller now, the walls closing in as I stared at the email from Horizon Ventures. A 7-figure offer for Glow Vibe, a clean break from Lily's lies, but Charles's threat loomed like a shadow. He was no silent partner. He was a leech, clinging to a brand I'd built with my sweat and trust. I'd survived Lily's cheating wife story, but the final move was mine to make. Revenge or freedom? The question gnawed at me as Seattle's skyline glittered outside, indifferent to my war. I met Sarah, my lawyer, at her office the next morning. The USB from Ava sat on her desk, a digital grenade packed with Lily and Charles's secrets. "You've got enough to ruin them," Sarah said, her voice steady. "Fraud, misappropriation, even potential data theft. But litigation's a slog, Nathan. It'll cost you time, money, peace." She leaned back, studying me. "Or you sell Glow Vibe now, walk away, and let them drown in their own mess." I gripped my coffee cup, the warmth grounding me. "What if they come after me again?" I asked. Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Then we hit back harder." I spent the day weighing my options. Selling meant closure, a chance to rebuild without Lily's ghost. But fighting meant exposing her betrayal to the world, making sure she and Charles couldn't hurt anyone else. I'd read enough Reddit cheating stories to know how these things lingered, how the betrayed either rose or crumbled. I wanted to rise, but at what cost? The rain started again, a soft patter against the hotel window, mirroring the storm in my head. The first twist came that afternoon. Ava texted me, "Lily's at my place. She's freaking out, wants to talk to you." I didn't trust Ava fully, but her evidence had been solid. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet at a neutral spot, a quiet diner near the waterfront. When I arrived, Lily was already there, sitting in a corner booth, her hands wrapped around a mug of tea. She looked fragile, like a cracked vase ready to shatter. "No Charles, no Ava, just her." "Nathan?" she started, her voice barely above a whisper. "I know I don't deserve this, but hear me out." I sat across from her, arms crossed, my face a mask. This wasn't the time for weakness. "I was wrong," she said, eyes glistening. "Charles manipulated me. He fed me lies about Glow Vibe's potential, about a life without you. I was greedy, stupid." She reached for my hand, but I didn't budge. "I ended it with him. I want us back." Her words were a punch, not because I believed them, but because I recognized the performance. This was the wife betrayal confession I'd expected. Polished, rehearsed, designed to tug at my heart. "You ended it?" I said, my tone icy. "Or did he ditch you when I pulled the plug on Glow Vibe?" Her flinch told me everything. I leaned forward. "I have your emails, Lily. Your texts. Your voice memos calling me pathetic. Don't play the victim now." Her tears fell, but they didn't move me. I'd loved her once, but that man was gone. She switched tactics, her voice hardening. "If you sell Glow Vibe, you're throwing away everything we built. You're not this cruel, Nathan. You're better than that." I almost laughed. Better than that? I'd been better than that when I funded her dreams, when I ignored the red flags, when I let her walk all over me. "You're right," I said, standing. "I'm not cruel, but I'm done being your fool." I left her in the booth, her sobs fading behind me. The second twist hit the next day. I was at Sarah's office, finalizing the sale paperwork, when my phone buzzed with an ex-post notification. It was from an anonymous account, but the content stopped me cold. A thread titled "The Truth About Glovibe's Collapse," accusing me of stealing the brand from a hardworking female entrepreneur. The post was littered with half-truths. Lily painted as a visionary, me as a vindictive ex who'd sabotaged her dream. It had already gained traction, with comments calling me a controlling jerk, and worse. I recognized Lily's handiwork. This was her counterattack, a public smear to pressure me into backing off. I showed Sarah the post. "She's desperate," she said, scrolling through the thread. "But this is defamation. We can sue." I shook my head. A lawsuit would drag me into the mud with her. Instead, I contacted a friend, Mia, who ran a popular startup blog. I sent her Ava's USB, along with a timeline of Lily's fraud and Charles's history. "Posted anonymously," I told her. "Let the truth speak." Within hours, Mia's blog dropped a detailed exposé, the dark side of Glovibe, fraud, infidelity, and a stolen dream. It included redacted screenshots, audio clips of Lily's mockery, and public records tying Charles to past scams. The post went viral, shared across X and Reddit, with hashtags like #CheatingWives and #WifeAffairExposed trending. The fallout was swift. Horizon Ventures called, confirming the sale was moving forward. No Charles, no Lily, just me. The X-thread Lily had started backfired, with users digging into her lies and branding her a toxic manipulator. Charles vanished from social media, his accounts scrubbed overnight. I didn't feel joy, just a quiet satisfaction. This wasn't the husband revenge story I'd planned, but it was the one I'd earned. The final twist came a week later. I was packing up the hotel room, ready to move into a new apartment, when a letter arrived, hand-delivered to the front desk. It was from Lily, written in her looping script. No apologies, no excuses, just a single page. "You win, Nathan. I thought I could outsmart you, but I was wrong. I don't expect forgiveness. I just hope you find someone who deserves you." Tucked inside was a photo from our first date. A hike in the Cascades, both of us laughing, wind in our hair. For a moment I was back there, believing in us. Then I tore the photo in half and tossed it in the trash. I signed the Glovibe sale that afternoon, the funds hitting my account by evening. It was enough to start over, maybe even launch my own project. But as I walked through Pike Place Market, the smell of coffee and salt air wrapping around me, I felt unmoored. I'd exposed Lily's affair, dismantled her plans, and walked away richer. So why didn't I feel whole? I'd survived this true cheating story, but it had cost me something I couldn't name. Faith in love, maybe, or the part of me that believed in forever. Standing by the waterfront, I watched the ferries glide across Puget Sound, their lights flickering in the dusk. I thought about Lily's letter, her final plea. Was she genuine, or was it another manipulation? I thought about Charles, slinking away to his next con. And I thought about me, Nathan Carter, the guy who'd loved too hard and learned too late. I could have fought harder, dragged them through court, made them pay for every lie. Or I could have forgiven, given Lily the second chance she begged for. Instead, I chose neither. I chose me. But as I stood there, the waves lapping at the pier, a question lingered. Had I protected my heart, or had I closed it off forever? I didn't have an answer. Maybe I never would. All I knew was that this wasn't just one of those Reddit cheating stories. It was mine, and it wasn't over. Not really. What would you have done? Forgiven, fought, or walked away? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if the story hit you deep. And subscribe to Viora for more unforgettable stories that peel back the layers of love and betrayal. Thanks for joining me on this journey.